Welcome back to Borough Park, Dave Irving.
Yes, it's been a while, that's for sure.
51 years since that transfer to Everton.
Yeah.
Where have all those years gone?
I really don't know. Time just flies, you know. Time just flies, and it doesn't change much. That's to say that I've travelled quite a bit. I've been very blessed and fortunate. Started here. I think Bobby Brown signed me first, you know.
Right.
And then I was like a schoolboy, and then we went on from there. And I've been fortunate, as I say. And then I got into the first team and started scoring goals. And I was lucky to get enough goals, and people like being ended up going to Everton, which was unbelievable.
How did that come about? I mean, in that December and January of 72, 73, you hit a rich vein of form and scoring goals for fun.
Yes.
Were you aware of interest from
George Aiken? Never told me much. You know, no news is good news, son. You know, that's all he used to say. And no, there was we knew there was a lot of people in the stands, scouts and different things. I think Middlesbrough, Jeff Twentyman, Liverpool, Harry Cook from Everton. So there was, but it's all just talk. Walsh was writing stuff in the paper. Whether it was true or not, who knows? But
there's no change there.
no, things haven't changed in 50 years there. So it was pretty. It was a surprise, but I was playing good, and and I had a great conversation with Harry Cook when I went to Everton, and he says, David, he says, the first thing I do on a Sunday morning is get the people, and see who's scoring.
Right.
He says, and then I eventually send somebody to look, and that's the process,
So tell us about the actual move. The fee was quoted as 30,000. Not sure exactly how much it was, but
I just remember what I got.
Where did it happen? Where did it take place? What?
It was actually on the M6. I was at home after training, and I was on the golf course at Maryport. And George Aiken come and pick me up and says, I'm going to take you home, get a coat, and off we went.
Right.
He said, you should have had a haircut before you go, because Harry Cat was, so we went to Fortin. There was Tom Kirkpatrick and George, and we went to Fortin. Right there at Fortin on the M6.
Services.
And we met Catrick and Harry Cook, and that's where it happened, And then we came back, and we stopped at Windermere for a bite to eat, and that was it. The next morning, 9 o'clock, I was on the train at Carlisle going to Lime Street.
Right, brilliant.
Yeah.
So you're there 3 or 4 years, I'm not sure how long.
Close to 4 years, yeah.
What was it like scoring your first goal at Goodison then?
It was unbelievable. The fans at the blue side of Liverpool was pretty passionate, just like back then. Everton was the biggest club in England. They were the millionaires. John Moores, the Littlewoods, and that, he owned it. It was and Belfield was the state-of-the-art facility. Back then you got lunch there. That was one of the first clubs to ever do all this. It was an unbelievable club, and I enjoyed every minute. But I didn't play as much as I would have liked to. I probably ended up with a dozen games in the first team. But there was a lot of players ahead of me: Joe Royal, Bob Latchford, Jim Pearson, Joe Harper. It was the best move I could ever want. I'd never change it, but it might have been better to go to a lesser club, and I would have probably got more. But I did well in the Central League. I made double figures every year that I played there, scoring goals. And there's always people watching you. So after I had lots of opportunities, like I said to you, to go elsewhere, and I ended up going to Oldham. Me and John Hurst it was a legendary player at Everton. We both went to Oldham. Had some opportunities to go south, but I said we'd stay pretty north. Still, I'm one of 7 boys. So family it was a tough transition from home and playing here, and then going to Liverpool and digs and stuff. So that was a tough transition.
But after that, I mean, there was spells at Oldham, as you say, and Sheffield, I believe, Sheffield United. And then, did you have a spell in Ireland?
Yes. The most amazing thing, I was at Oldham, I was doing well, and there was one of the agents started. His name was Les Rigby.
Right.
He was a Chorley boss, and he was a bit of an agent.
Yeah.
So Maurice Whittle, who played for Oldham, and Vic Hallam were going to America. I said, You can't. And I'm playing in teams, scoring a few goals, they're doing well, enjoying it. And Vic, him and his wife were having a tough time conceiving a baby, so then she conceived, and the doctor said you don't need to be going to Miami on an 8-hour plane ride, 9-hour plane ride. So he decided not to go. So I'm single, I'm 27, 28. Les asked me to go. Right. I said, sure, I'll go for the summer. You know, getting paid at Oldham, getting paid up. So I went. And then we did well, and I come back. I played a few teams in the first team, and then Fort Lauderdale bought me. They bought me and yeah. And because of the stature of the American soccer, the NASL then, I couldn't play in the Football League. So Johnny Giles took me to Shamrock Rovers. Right. That's how I ended up in Dublin, and I was there for 4 months before I went back to America. But that's when I played here for Fort Lauderdale. That was when I was in Ireland and came here. Right. And we played here, we played Portsmouth, and that's how it happened. And I went back to America in '78. Yeah.
Now that was an interesting friendly when you played here, and probably the biggest crowd you played in front of at Borough Park.
Yes,
I think there was nearly 6,000.
Yeah, 7,000.
There was another friendly.
It was like this.
When we played Zambia.
Zambia, yeah.
And you and James scored work-hitting goals. I mean, that must have been...
I came back and played on loan for a few months.
You done well in that in the Northern Premier League, didn't you, for a spell?
Yeah, I scored a few goals.
But there was also a match in the Cumberland Cup against Netherhall. How spooky was that?
Yeah, no kidding, huh?
Back on there before.
Yeah, I think he passed me the ball. I scored or something.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I've been trying to look back. Did we ever win the Lonsdale Cup, the under-18s, back in early days? I thought we did. We were close to.
I'm sure you did. I'm not sure when they won it.
We had a good team. We had a good team. But it was weird. And then, how I got picked for England, coming up from this neck of the woods, going down to Loughborough and trying out with all these Chelsea, Arsenal.
So who did you play against for England?
I played against Wales and Ireland.
Where were those matches played?
One was in Belfast, and the other one was at Reading.
All right.
Yeah.
Right.
It actually, the first one got postponed because of snow, so I had to go back down. I got 2 caps for under 23s, under 18s, sorry. Then old Bert Horsley signed me here.
Going back to the start, sort of 68, 69, you were playing for the reserves in the Northern Football Alliance.
Yeah, Northern Alliance, yeah.
And then you got your debut. Can you remember who that was against?
My debut, and I scored, was against Cambridge away, Brian Doyle.
Yeah. They were new to the league, weren't they?
Correct. They'd just come out Abbey Road, Abbey
Stadium.
Yeah. That was it. It was a header, far post. Yeah.
And your first goal at Borough Park, can you remember that?
Ooh, that would be a tough one, that one.
Newport County.
Was it? Yeah.
So there was that gradual improvement over 2 or 3 seasons.
Yeah, obviously, I got stronger, I got bigger, and there was some good senior pros here, Jimmy Goodfellow, Tommy Spratt. Tommy Spratt he was a sneaky little player,
Right.
So and he taught you a few things, and look after yourself a little bit. Because back then, if you didn't look after yourself, you got the boot kicked out of you,
That's right.
So it was a different game, I remember one time we were playing down in Gillingham, and I scored late on, and there's a big centre half for Gillingham, John Coddington his name was. He reeked of brandy or whiskey or whatever he said, And I said something like young, I'm like 18, 19, and all of a sudden he just hit me right in the ear.
Oh my goodness.
I didn't do that again. So I've learned some hard lessons, it was, but it was a whirlwind. It was a whirlwind. One day playing against Hereford, and then you go to Everton, and there's 50, 60 pros, and a lot of them are Scousers.
When you mentioned Hereford, I mean, I seem to remember it was a cracking goal. Was that one of your favourites you scored?
Yeah, it had to be, because I went down past where they're all drinking.
Right. Yeah.
And I cut in, and then I just chipped it, knocked it to the far post, and flew in, But it's a funny game, like you couldn't, sometimes it doesn't, and all of a sudden you hit everything and it flies in,
Yeah, that's it.
You get in the way of things, it goes in, but...
So what about your teammates? I mean, George Best, for a
Bestie
while?
was brilliant. I spent a lot of time with George, looking after him on different things. I can't say too much, but he was lovely. He was, he was unbelievable. Just a natural God-given talent, and he off the field he was great.
And where do you rate him in sort of world soccer?
No, I think he's right up there with Pelé, and I played against Pelé with Pelé, as you know. But Bestie, we would go out in the morning, and he'd have a good night before, and we'd get a bag of balls and try to chip the crossbar. If he didn't get 8 out of 10, that was a bad morning.
Right.
He was just natural talent, unbelievable. But he was a great person, and sadly, I was one of the few people, if I called him when he was in London, he'd come and meet me, which was very unusual, But he was great. He was great. And James met him in Fort Lauderdale, and we had a few cocktails together. That's for sure, didn't we? So.
And when you eventually went to the Hammerheads, was it? Wilmington.
Yes.
Quite a few of the working Cumbrian lads came out to play for you. Who did you
Yes,
have?
I had my good sauce with James and Billy Gilmore, George Corrie.
Yeah.
Obviously the big ones, Glenn.
Yeah.
Glenn Murray, Goulding, Gary Wright, Danny Burgess. And they all did great. You can't do that no more, because I just used to bring them on visitors' visas and take care of them. But they really helped our success in Wilmington.
Are you still in touch with Glenn Murray?
Not really. No, I think something went a little. I got him to. We got to Sunderland. Sunderland came to America, and I put an all-star team together to play them in Raleigh, and he played in that, and I knew Mick and them and he took them, So I don't know what happened between that and history from there, but I think something went wrong with somebody or something. But no, he came over for George's wedding a few years ago, and that was the last time I saw Glenn. Yeah, he's done very well, and he as a Roman, he could always score goals. Yeah, he could always score goals,
Dave, it's fantastic to have you back here, and thanks for sharing your career with us.
Well, thank you. I'm looking forward to next weekend to watch the game.
Brilliant. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.